All right, I'm Jarkko Malon, the lead maintainer of ODPS. Welcome to this session where we discuss the coming possible ODPS release 4.0. It's currently in the release candidate status, so open for commenting and feedback. It's going to be 4.0 because it's going to change the fundamentals of the spec to some extent. So we consider it as a major change. In the structure it changes, but also the capabilities of the spec are going to increase now significantly. So in this session we're going to have a look at the main changes that we're planning to do and how they actually function and what is the value. We take the spec creating in quotations seriously. So it's like a precision work, very much like manufacturing or craftsmanship of creating a katana. You might know the Japanese sword. It's very sharp when it's well done, and we aim for the same kind of quality, of course, with the spec itself. And I've been using a lot of time recently on fine-tuning the last 5%, which always takes at least 50% of the time. So let's look at it. What is the result at the moment? Before we go into the actual changes, as a reminder that the ODPS, Open Data Product Specification, the open is referring to the openness of the standard, but is applied to open data, but also for the commercial data, internal data, partner data, and so on. So it doesn't reflect, it doesn't matter the openness level, but it applies to all of these categories, different variations of data products. And it is adopted now with an increasing amount of organizations, different sizes and different industries. Defense is the NATO as an example, and then we have a BASF from the chemistry side. We have Alation platform, who actually just recently released a AI-powered data product builder, which is utilizing ODPS. We have Fireware, which is the smart city context, and a bunch of other companies and platforms and tools. So, and we only know the tip of the iceberg because this is open standard, so there is no obligation to tell us, the maintainers or the community on our side, that you're using it. But of course, we would love to hear it. We might give you some tips, some guidance, and invite you even to the technical steering committee if you are committed to make some kind of contributions. So briefly, ODPS has a long history already. It has been in the making since 2020, but one of the major milestones or events will happen in the middle of 24 when we joined the Linux Foundation, and after that we released the 3.1 end of 24, and now we are planning to have the release of the 4.0 in August 25. So in the previous versions we found some limitations, and then based on these findings we started to craft the solution, and it's going to be, the candidate solution is this kind of components driven approach and internal referencing. But the problems or limitations that inspired us to look again at the specification was that in the pricing plans, especially in the pricing plans, it lacked the flexibility to adjust each plan for customer profiles. So in the previous versions, the data quality and SLA and access and so on, those are defined in specific objects inside the ODPS. Those are defined once, and then currently you need to use those in each of the pricing plan. And as we know, the pricing plans might have different kind of data quality levels for each of the plan, for example, or different kind of SLA. You don't want to put the same SLA for the freemium as you do for enterprise level, for example. And the access might be different because currently the data products has been built for human consumption. But even in those cases, the access might be different. In some cases, the data product is offered as a file. Sometimes it's offered as a API access. And then now we have also the AI agents, and they require a little bit different kind of access optimally. So we need more this kind of flexibility in the pricing plans, which are based on customer profiles. Now the solution is that you have a different ODPS spec for different customer profiles. Not very good. And we want to take away this limitation. And one way to do it is using these components. This also has the consequence that it results to duplication. So when you can't have multiple SLAs and so on for the different profiles, you're going to do duplicates. There is no way to reuse any shared components across different pricing plans or products. And you're going to do repetition in this one. So it will increase to more errors, and it will increase the amount of maintenance work. And as a result, the specs become more messy and harder to maintain. And one of the reasons is that there is no way in the previous versions to refer to external YAML, and which you could then reuse. And this is important because if you have a family or portfolio of data products, you want to standardize certain things company-wide, and for example, the default SLA or default data quality or something else. So now it has not been easily possible, but with this components approach, it is possible with fraction of work. So overview, which we will look in the more detail in this session. So the overview of reusable components, and the idea is that the 4.0 encourages towards the modularity and allowing the shared components to be referenced across multiple pricing plans and different products. So the idea is that you define once either in line, so inside the ODPS spec, or in an external YAML file, the following objects: the SLA, different kind of profiles for the SLAs, different kind of profiles for the data quality, same for the data access, and also for the payment gateways. And then you reference those profiles. We'll look into the profile concept a bit later, but then you reference to these profiles, for example, from the pricing plans. This results to reusing the definitions across different plans, but also across the different data products. It results also the cleaner specification and less duplication. It enables centralized updates. For example, if you define the data quality in one external file, the different profiles, and you use it in multiple data products, you update it in one place and it applies to all of the data products. So this results to fewer errors and misalignment inside the company and in the portfolio. And then this is enabled by supporting external YAML referencing from the spec itself. We'll look into this one, but this is the principle of the components. So ODPS 4.0 reusable objects. We keep the pretty much the same structure in object level, but we add this kind of modular flexibility into the spec itself. So in this new model, users can reference internal components such as SLA from other parts of the product definition using the familiar JSON referencing syntax. Very much often this is coming from the pricing plans, where you are defining different kind of SLA, for example, for the freemium, and different kind of SLA for premium. And then the third plan might be the AI agent, and in that case you might be reusing one of these SLA profiles. Then there is this concept of fixed profile inside the SLA, data quality, payment gateways, and data access. So there is a fixed plan or fixed profile called default. It acts as a fallback or a baseline. So if you're going to use the SLA object in the ODPS or the data quality object, then you must have this initial profile of default. It guarantees that there is some kind of definition, and it's always under the same element. Then, as mentioned, any of these components can be defined and maintained externally from the spec, the main spec, data product spec itself, and then you can include it into the spec itself and use it. So this enables teams to manage the changes more consistently, as mentioned, enabling the enterprise level governance practices, and reduce the errors, and ensure the alignment of different kind of aspects of the data products in company-wide or enterprise level wide practices. So let's have a look at the data quality object. So this is the data quality object that you define in the ODPS spec, and as mentioned, there has to be the default. Default is always present, and it's named as default, so it is always present. And under the default you have some kind of display title. Okay, in this case it's English, and then you have the dimensions of the data quality profile, and those dimensions can be one of the, you can use the 8 different standardized data quality dimensions included in the spec. And if that's not enough, then you can use the extension option provided and enabled by the ODPS itself. Normally the 8 options are pretty good, but in specific cases it might not be. Then on top of this default profile, you can define additional data quality profiles. In the example on the right, you have the premium, and if you compare the default and the premium here, they are using the same dimensions. They could be different, but in this case they are same. So in the premium, the accuracy is higher, 98%, and the completeness is also higher, 99%. So you're giving a higher data quality for the premium package. And then when you want to use this again inside the spec itself, you use the referencing. So the path in the beginning is the internal path to the data quality object, and the last part of the actual path is the data quality profile you are referencing to. And in this example here, we are referencing to the default profile. But if you would change the last word in the reference from default to premium, you would be pointing to the premium profile inside the data quality object. Pretty simple. Same applies for the SLA. So again, you have the SLA object inside the ODPS spec, main spec, and then you have the same principle that you have the default SLA over there. If you use the SLA object, you need to have the default option. And again, you define the dimensions that you want to include there and what is the promise. For example, in this case, the uptime is over there and it's 90%, not very high, but anyway, that's the profile. And in ODPS, you have 11 standardized SLA dimensions or aspects that you can use. But again, if it's not enough, use the extension. And again, after the default, you can have your own specific SLA profiles that again you can reference from the pricing plans. In this example, we are again referring to the default SLA profile, but again change the last part of the reference and you're pointing, for example, to the premium. Always have the default and then freedom to define additional profiles. And the same applies again for the payment gateways and the data access. Payment gateways are important to have a variety of them, because in your data product might be consumed in one of the plans by downloading a file. So you need to have a different kind of data access to that one. Then another plan might be a subscription, and then you have an API. And the third plan is intended for the AI agents, and in that case you might have an MCP server as an access point. So the data access is like it enables you on in one spec to actually define the pricing plans per customer profiles. Previously this was not possible. And the payment gateways, I'm coming back to it now. So payment gateways pretty much the same. For the humans, you might have the Stripe as a purchase channel. So there would be a code that actually ignites the purchase of this data product, for example, the subscription access to the API plan. And then for the agents, you might need to have a different kind of payment gateway. They don't, most likely it's not optimal to provide them the Stripe kind of a way, what is intended for humans. But you might want to offer a AI agent specific, more tuned for their processes and methods of working with your data product. But again, now you can see that there is the default options, always have to be the default here again. And then you can have additional, for example, payment gateways profiles. In here is the agent, and same for the data access. Default is there, and then you have API profile, and then you have agent profile. Same logic again. All of these data quality, SLA, gateways, and access. All of them work the same way. Now, I've been mentioning this pricing plan multiple times, so let's have a look at it. In the example here on the right, you have one pricing plan, but on the product you most likely have multiple, so that you can offer the same product for different customer profiles and for different users, because customers are not gonna all have the same needs. Some of them might need a file as one of the plan. One of them wants to subscribe to your API, and the agent might be wanting to also subscribe to your product. And they would all have a different kind of pricing plan. And now, inside this example plan, we are referencing to, for example, the data quality that we defined previously with this simple ref product data quality premium. And then SLA, access, and the gateway, payment gateway, the same way again. And now on the pricing plan level, we can switch these easily. And then the business level work becomes quite easy and flexible. And then we are reusing the definitions of these 4 different aspects of the data products: gateways, data quality, SLA, and access. That's the idea of using internal referencing inside the spec itself. So in spec referencing and external referencing, I've been using these terms a couple of times here, and I think might be still good to clarify it a little bit. So in spec referencing or internal referencing, we saw it multiple times now. So it's very clear. We have this ref and then the path to the actual profile, what we want to reference. It's pointing to default or something else. And in this example, we have the payment gateway, for example, referencing to agent profile of the payments, and the data quality is premium, SLA is premium, and the access is the agent again. So the gains are that we can quickly assemble or update the pricing plans without duplicating the details. We can reuse a lot of things. We ensure the consistency across different plans and even between the products. And one change in profile updates the linked plans. We can easily adapt the offering very dynamically to customer needs by reusing predefined components. And this increases the time to market, or reduces the time to market actually very dramatically. And on top of this, the governance becomes more clean, since the specs are becoming more clean and more easy to manage. So this is the internal referencing or in-spec referencing we've been discussing a lot. The other option I was mentioning, the external referencing, and this is the other type. So, and here you have two options to actually approach. So let's discuss first the left one, all in one. So in this example, we've been previously discussing that we defined, for example, the SLA profiles, default and premium, inside the SLA object itself in the spec. Now in this all-in-one, you could reference to a YAML file in the SLA object, and it would contain the same, all this same structure like the default and premium, and follow the ODPS spec for that part. But this way you're defining all of these profiles in one file for the SLA. Same for the data quality in the example. All of the definitions, all the profiles are in one local file in this case. And the same would apply for the gateways and also the data access. All of them, all profiles in one file, and then referencing it. On the right side, you have the per profile approach, which is almost the same, but instead of packaging all of these profiles in one file, you have a file for each of the profile. So you will have multiple files, but each of them defines one profile, for example. In the example, on the right, we have the SLA, the default, and under the default is a reference pointing to an external file. Inside that YAML file is the details of the default SLA profile. And the same for the premium. On the premium, reference to a different YAML file. And then all these premium spec is actually defined in that file. And you bring it in to the product spec itself. Now you can reuse these YAML files in different products. And you can choose which way you want to do it, all in one or per profile, depending on your case and your needs. Both are enabled. So this is the in-spec referencing and external referencing differences. All right, that was the main part of the components approach and the referencing that we are planning to enable on the 4.0. On top of that, we actually see that the 4.0 is going to be as a release much more than just a spec update. As such, it's a big update already, but we are actually packaging this all into ODPS Success Hub. You will have the frameworks, we enable you to learn, and we have the expert guidance, we have the examples, and so on. So in the middle is the ODPS spec 4.0, and around it is supporting functionalities. For example, the community. We have the Discord server now up and running. We haven't yet published it anywhere, but it will come out, and you can join the Discord and discuss with the community, bring your topics, bring your ideas more easily than just going to GitHub and raising an issue. Then we have the examples, which is actually a knowledge hub. It's currently a GitHub repository, which contains FAQs, so questions and then related answers with actual YAML examples, and lots of other information as well. Then we have the courses, so enabling you to learn. We have Udemy masterclasses for learning the data product concept and how the ODPS is used in that. And that is provided by one of the partners, Data Maestro Academy. These courses are expected to the amount of these courses is most likely going to increase future and enable you to go deeper into the data product world. Then also through the Data Maestro Academy, there is also ignited a creation or growth of ODPS consultant network. So whenever examples is not enough, the spec is not enough, courses is not enough, and you need to apply the ODPS in a specific context, for example, and you have doubts, for example, then it might be a good idea to use a consultant for a brief moment to verify that the direction is correct and you haven't missed anything, and you're actually taking advantage of all of the features of the ODPS itself. On top of that, we already uploaded to the Knowledge Hub a data product toolkit, which is a set of business level canvases that enable data product managers to work with the data products and manage the whole portfolio and even measure the value. So there's a value measurement framework also included in the toolkit itself. So as you can see, it's much more, the ODPS is currently much more than just the spec. And it's becoming in its own ecosystem at the moment. But all of this is now planned to be in the 4.0 release. So it is possible for you to look at the current version, opendataproducts.org/4RC. And in there you can see live the current candidate supporting all these components approach. And there's also a link to the examples or the knowledge hub, as we call it, which contains more details about using the ODPS 4.0 in different ways. So give feedback, let us know what you think, and do that on time. July, if you give feedback in July, we have still time to take it into account before the August planned release. But even if you come with your feedback later on, please do so. We can always include your good ideas to the following releases that we're going to do. Thank you.